Stormforce 10 at Drayton Manor is a really cool flume ride, and I mean that in more than one way. In a country with all sorts of soaking water rides, this may be the most drenching of all. Should you go on it? Find out in this review. Stormforce 10 opened in 1999. Built by Bear, this flume is one of the park's better themed rides, and I really like how it looks. The ride is themed to a lifeboat rescue. The ride is located in the park's central pond, so you get some great views looking out at it. Then the climactic final plunge is huge, and it takes place next to an even taller control tower that bears the ride's name. Then the ride also is a massive station building. It is a seaside building with a red and white lighthouse attached to it. This houses the ride's long, multi-level queue, and this has a lot to see. You pass all sorts of boating equipment and paraphernalia on the way. This aesthetic continues all the way up to the load platform. There are all sorts of items on the walls there, and even some stuff hanging from the ceiling. While I did visit on a busier summer day, it was cooler and rainy, so Stormforce 10 was never more than a 5-minute wait. I have heard this can generate a sizable queue on warm sunny days though, whenever England is lucky enough to have a day like that. If the ride does have a long wait, it is included in the park's paid Fast Pass Skip the Line system. You board through the exit, often boarding the next boat. I've heard this ride is up to 10 boats, but it more commonly operates with 5 or 6 of them. Each boat has 4 rows of 2, seating a max of 8 riders, and there are absolutely no restraints, so people can enter and exit quickly. Seating is on a first-come basis, but staff members may rearrange people for weight distribution purposes. This is the one thing that would slow down a dispatch from what I saw. It seemed that single riders were not allowed in the very front or back row. My preferred seat was the very back row. I thought the drops were a bit better back there. Then while every row gets soaked, it is especially comical how that transpires in the back row. That leads to my next point. Prepare yourself for this ride. You have a 100% chance of getting drenched, and that water is ice cold. Some tips. 1. Bring a change of shoes. I specifically brought sandals for this ride, and this was a lifesaver. 2. Consider bringing a change of clothes or a bathing suit. You will still get drenched to the bone, but you can at least switch to dry clothes afterwards. 3. Bring a rain jacket or poncho. This is the way to go if you want your lowest layer to stay reasonably dry. Right next to the entrance, there actually is a window selling ponchos. Whenever you see a ride doing this, you know it's going to be a soaker. I already had a poncho on hand, so I didn't check how much they cost. Now, important note about loose articles. I want to thank Drayton Manor for actually putting cubbies in the load platform for your bags and belongings. This is a stark contrast to so many water rides that make you bring everything with you. Valhalla. I've seen so many people get their bags destroyed on rides like that. The boats are fine. They don't have too much padding, but they're comfortable enough. Then there are absolutely no restraints, as I said earlier. 2 boats are loaded and dispatched in tandem. Each boat then rolls forwards into a little show scene. This is blocked by a tarp from the station, so I had a hunch something weird would happen, and it did. Off to the left, you have a rescue worker holding a lever. I believe this guy used to move at one point, but it has been static for several years. Unbeknownst to most, the boat has been sitting on a tilt track. Your boat then tilts maybe 10 to 15 degrees upwards, but it still is a shock. You then roll forwards and descend a short but steep drop. It has some zip to it, and if you're in the very back, you'll get a little airtime. And remember, you have no seatbelt nor lap bar, so any airtime feels noticeably wilder here. The resultant splash is solid for those on ride, but it is far more soaking for those off ride. Those on board will get their monsoon in a short bit, so don't you worry. You then have a turn with waterfalls on both sides. This looks sort of odd off-ride because it's just an unthemed blue wall, but it is a fun visual on-ride being surrounded by water. It's an element you more typically see on European rapids rides, more than a flume. The main torrents do not hit the boat, but you can still get a little wet if you're on the left side. The left waterfall is way closer to the boat, so you'll get hit with mist and sprinkles. You then move towards a control tower with a second drop. You circle underneath the lift and then slowly float past some boats. Once you finish the loop, you ascend your first lift hill. I believe this is roughly 30 feet or 9 meters tall. The top brings you inside the tower, and you pause on a turntable. To be blunt, the inside is pretty ugly, and it just looks like a warehouse, but you're not in there for long at least. You rotate clockwise, then you exit backwards down another decently steep drop. It offers a falling sensation, especially towards the natural front of the boat. Now it's time for this ride's most infamous moment, the second splash. Get ready for a tsunami. I'm pretty sure you can stand underneath a shower head for 10 to 15 seconds, and you'll be significantly drier than what this ride does. The boat creates a massive splash that travels directly over the boat. If you're in the back 2 rows in particular, the brunt of the wave lands right on top of you. It is hysterical seeing the reactions of others, especially those who do not know it's coming. While those in front will not feel the full weight of the wave, the splash will still hit them and get them drenched. No one is safe. I have seen some people say that Valhalla Blackpool Pleasure Beach is wetter, but I disagree. While that ride gets your shoes wetter because of the quantity of water that pools in the boat, there is not a single splash in that ride that is nearly as powerful or overwhelming as the one on Stormforce 10. You then back into a turntable and rotate counterclockwise. You then exit forwards and slowly float towards the station. You pass underneath it, passing some crates and boating equipment. It is worth noting I visited the park on a day with 40-mile-per-hour wind gusts, so this particular part was one heck of a wind tunnel. It felt like we were being battered with Stormforce winds, which was fitting given the ride's name and theme. This was especially chilly after the prior splash though. You leisurely float towards the second lift. You then climb that lift even more glacially. It takes nearly 1 minute to reach the top. It is fairly tall for a flume though at 54 feet, or 16 meters in size. You then have a large elevated U-turn. This takes another minute to complete. There are railings and nets on the side, but you can still get some decent views overlooking the park. This leads to the final plunge. It is a large double down, and it's quite good. The initial part is smaller, but it feels steeper, so it offers a tiny pop of airtime for those in back. Then the second hump is taller, and with the speed into it, everyone gets a falling sensation. The final splash creates another sizable wave. This time, those in front get wetter. But that second drop was so drenching that it doesn't really make much of a difference by this point. You then slowly float towards the lighthouse, taking about another minute to do so. Then you have your third and final lift hill, this time returning you to the load platform. This ends the 1,600-foot, or 488-meter-long experience, which takes roughly 8 minutes to complete. I do wish that ride time were a bit condensed though. I feel like the ride drags on a bit in the floating sections because of how slowly the boats move. I wish they would have moved a bit faster to help with the pacing. So, what would I rate Stormforce 10? I would give this flume a 9 out of 10. This is an excellent water ride. The 3 drops are all exciting, and each one has their own quirk. One tilts, one goes backwards, and one is a large double down. Then everyone will come off drenched, primarily because of that second drop, so be prepared. Then this rides a respectable amount of theming. Really my only con is the pacing, but that is a relatively minor gripe in the grand scheme of things. What this ride does well, it does really well. So those are my thoughts on Stormforce 10 at Drayton Manor. What are your thoughts on this flume ride? Do you enjoy it? Or do you find it too wet? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, I would appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you consider subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.